Struggling with a toxic work environment can feel overwhelming and even scary at times. So in this video, I'm going to share some proven strategies that will help you handle the situation and in the meantime also protect your mental health and your overall job performance. The last thing you need to do is suffer in silence. My name is Sarah Camillo. I'm a certified career coach and I have some personal experience in this matter. In this video, I'm going to help you handle the situation as best as I can and help you learn from my mistakes and the mistakes of others. Now, every situation is different, so I'm going to do my best to touch on a variety of these toxic work environments and situations that you may be a part of so that you can ultimately help to resolve it on your own. So let's jump in. Here are 9 ways to handle a toxic work environment. Number 1, set boundaries with your time and for yourself. So nowadays, a lot of people work 10 to 12-hour days every day, and that is exhausting. So you need to set the boundary early between your personal life and your professional life, or else you'll get burnt out. You may see coworkers who are emailing at 11 p.m. or midnight or starting at 4 a.m. That does not mean that you need to do the same. Now, when it comes to relationships with others at work, you may hear that some of them are talking negatively or gossiping or, having those conversations that you just don't want to be a part of. Set that boundary early, stay out of those conversations, or just say, you know what, I'm not going to engage and walk away. You need to disconnect from those quickly. Now, this also goes with your manager and building a relationship with the manager, say if you're new on the job. This is where my experience comes in. I had a job that I had a manager who crossed the line early with sexual innuendos, harassment, right away, the first week on my job. Now, I was young, it was very early in my career, I just didn't know how to handle it, so initially I just ignored it. Not only did he compliment every outfit I wore, especially on that first week on the job, but he also even scheduled a happy hour that it was a way for me to meet with the other people in the team. We were a team of about 6 or 7 people. He scheduled that happy hour, however, he didn't invite anybody else, so that it ended up just being me and him off-site at a bar by ourselves. Now, at the time, he had said, they all just backed out that day. Once I got to know other people on the team, I found out that they never even knew about the happy hour invite because he didn't invite them. So throughout this video, I'm going to share a few other things that he had done, but ultimately, looking back, I wish I had handled it differently, but it was such a gray area. I was new, I was young, he was my manager. So ultimately, I wish I had handled it differently, but I'll share eventually what I did. Starting with number 2, which is document everything. I should have documented this from day 1. Based on your situation, make sure you're documenting everything that you observe or that you experience. So you want to keep a record of any incident of harassment, bullying, anything unethical that occurs, whether it's something that you observe or something that you are a part of. So this documentation will be valuable if in case in the future that you have to get HR or somebody from legal involved into your situation. Some companies even have a number that you can call to report anonymously. So that way you can keep your name out of it if you don't want to be involved personally, and then they are inclined to then investigate the situation. In my situation, I was working in recruiting at the time and my boss was a HR manager, which is sometimes somebody that you typically would report this to. So I'm just thinking he knows better, right? Which made it just ultimately more confusing for me because these inappropriate comments, sometimes they were in person, sometimes they were over instant messenger, sometimes they were even in an email. So literally documented for me, connected to his name. But again, all that did was confuse me even more since he was in a power situation. So again, on a good note, it was already documented for me, yet I didn't do anything about it right away or for way too long. So don't be me. Looking back, I should have called that anonymous number, again, to keep my name out of it since it was a situation with my manager. Again, I didn't, but if you're in a similar situation, please report it to whoever you can. Number 3 is get support. Reach out to colleagues, friends, family members, other people you trust for both emotional support, but also to get their opinion and keep their perspective. Because sometimes when you're really in a situation for so long, you start to ignore some of the smaller things. You just kind of get numb to it and you ignore it. You're not approaching this with a clear head. At the time I was going through this, I initially told some friends outside of work, just close friends of mine. I would tell them some stories and I couldn't even say his name. He made me so uncomfortable. So our nickname for him was Pervert Boss, for lack of creativity there, but they all knew that I was going through this. Pervert Boss. I had so many stories. It was a uncomfortable situation. Talking about him was therapeutic to a point. However, I tried to keep it light because I just didn't know how else to handle it. And so when I was telling them these stories, we kind of more or less laughed about it, but I didn't get in, or I didn't really share how it was really affecting me, like mentally, emotionally, how my performance was suffering as well. I was nervous to either make a mistake at work, then have to meet with him about it. I was also nervous to do really well at something at work and have to be recognized by him. I also eventually confided with some coworkers. Once I got to know my team better, I built some great relationships with them. I confided in them on the situation, and they actually were aware. They observed it. They saw this firsthand. He texted a few of them occasionally to see if they thought I had a chance with him. Now keep in mind, he was married. His wife actually worked at the same organization in a more senior level as well. So that just added more stress and confusion on my end for how to handle the situation. Even though I was in HR, looking back, there are plenty of other people in HR that I should have gone to. So again, if you're in a similar situation, seek out somebody else in HR that you can trust and who you can talk to so they can help you handle this situation as quickly as possible. Number 4. Throughout all of this, you still need to remain professional and focused on your own goals. Like I said, this was already affecting my performance at work, so this is easier said than done. When you're in an environment like this, whether it's somebody bullying you or you're nervous to speak up in meetings or nervous to make a decision or nervous to meet with somebody in particular, it can absolutely affect you professionally. It's so important to stay as focused as you can on your own work, show up. Get your work done, achieve those goals, stay focused on those goals. Ultimately, you need to remain professional to refrain from lashing out or getting so frustrated you blurt out something unprofessional. Remaining professional can help you protect your own reputation at work. So this is really important that you do this. Number 5, you probably know what's coming. Focus on your own self-care. So you need to still prioritize your own physical and mental well-being, incorporate exercise, meditation, whatever stress relieving exercises work for you. Make sure you incorporate that into your life so you could just handle this with as level head and less stress as possible. Especially since handling a toxic work environment, things can change. You can resolve it, you can improve it. However, it still takes time. It takes a long time, so you need to make sure that you are taking care of yourself along the way. Number 6, limit the interaction with those causing the toxic work environment. So if possible, minimize contact with them, with those toxic colleagues or supervisors. Limit the face-to-face interaction, something that really does affect you physically. And communicate via email whenever possible, or IM, or just through other people, however you can. Given that my situation was with my manager, it was very difficult to minimize interaction with him. I avoided him as much as possible. Now this is going back to a time where working from home was new, which sounds really ancient right now, but at the time we were only able to work from home 2 days a week at the most. They didn't even want us to do 2, they wanted us to stick to 1, but I took advantage, worked 2 days from home just to avoid passing him in the hallway. That was how much I hated being in that building. Now, while that helped me mentally avoid him and try to just stay focused on my work, that's exactly what I was doing, was just avoiding the situation, which isn't helping anybody. The situation is not going to go anywhere then. So again, if you're in a similar situation, take action. Don't wait. Now, say you've talked with your own manager, you've talked with people in HR, you've done the anonymous thing, you've done all of these things and nothing is changing. Let's talk about number 7, which is evaluating other options. So if this just becomes unbearable, start exploring other opportunities within your organization or outside of your organization. Start networking, update your resume, start talking to people you used to work with, start exploring open opportunities elsewhere. It's time to take action now and move outside of the organization. You're going to start to feel if the situation is getting better or if no action or no change is happening. So if you're not seeing the situation getting any better, you decide to need to leave. If you need some help, please schedule a call with me. I am here to help. The link is below. Talk to mentors, talk with other people to help you if you need it to leave the company. Now, maybe before you leave, you want to try one other thing, which is number 8, confronting the issue. Again, every situation is different, but if you feel comfortable and you can maintain professionalism, then confront the individual who is toxic or creating this toxic environment. Be direct in your communication with them, yet stay calm. Perhaps you end up becoming like a mediator for their own situation. Maybe they're going through something that you don't even know about, which is also toxic, and they're kind of spiraling. You never know what they're going through either, which is the other reason it's so important to stay calm. So depending on your own relationship, your own situation and their situation, this could actually solve the issue. Ultimately, you need to let them know how their behavior is negatively affecting your own work situation. They're bringing this toxicity to your team or to the department or to the company, and suggest solutions to improve the situation. Number 9, know when it's too much and take action immediately. Get help if you need it. If this behavior and this toxic environment is too much and it's again affecting you professionally, personally, but even like emotionally, mentally, you're not sleeping, you're getting sick, it's affecting your family life, your home life, whatever that is, get help immediately. Again, start with escalating the issue to your HR, to your own manager, and go beyond from there. Perhaps you have a corporate lawyer at your organization if it's big enough. Some do. Set a meeting with them and get some legal advice. No matter who you meet with, you need to present your documentation and your evidence, and document and share everything. This was another lesson I learned too, was I shared some, but I didn't share everything. I don't know why. So when I eventually reported him, I didn't share the emails to my personal email from him. I didn't share the fact that he was talking about leaving his wife and he was house hunting at the time, all because of me. I didn't share the text that he had sent to other people and other coworkers within the department. I didn't share all that, I'm guessing out of fear. I don't really know. This was completely new to me. So make sure if you're in a situation, no matter what it is, that you share everything that you have, every piece of evidence, everything documented. I do remember thinking I didn't want this to affect my job. Am I going to get fired because it's going to be my word against his? I wasn't sure. But just know that most companies have a no retaliation policy. So that means if you report someone, they can't come back after you. However, he did. So when I reported him and eventually got to him, they kept my name out of it, but he still approached me after and told me what he was accused of, and I had to just play dumb. He was later removed from the organization. So the bottom line with all this, and the reason I'm sharing all this, is because especially since COVID, I've been hearing more and more about toxic work environments, and how when everybody was working virtually, then they were thinking like, okay, I think I'm going back to a really bad environment, and they started reflecting on how they were treated by others. And this just opened their eyes to a lot of other mental health issues and other types of toxic environments out there. So again, if this is you, take action, take control of the situation. The sooner you do it, the better. Handling this environment, it takes time, so you need to be patient throughout. It's going to take a long time, but you need to be strategic about how you approach this as well. And overall, you want to resolve the situation, and sometimes they can be resolved. Unfortunately, sometimes they can't. There are 9 ways to help you handle a toxic work environment. Every situation is different, so I hope this is helpful in some way. If you are a victim in this situation, it can stay with you a long time. So again, move forward, take action quickly. The sooner you do it, the better. Please reach out if you want to talk about it. If you need some help with leaving your organization or just handling your own situation, I'd be happy to help you. Just click the link below and set up a time to talk. If this was helpful, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Comment below with any other questions or any other topics you'd like for me to touch on. I'll see you in the next one.